I stood in the center of our living room, tucking the last pair of swim trunks into the luggage, feeling that sense of thrill you get when everything's finally coming together. The Mediterranean trip was my dream, for us. Me, Alyssa, Kaylin, and Isla. I'd spent months arranging it, poring over brochures and websites, picking out the nicest villas with ocean views, private boat cruises across the Greek islands, and pasta-making courses in Italy that I knew the kids would love. First class. Tickets were the icing on top. A little indulgence to make sure we all felt special from the moment we landed. Alyssa was in the kitchen, double-checking passports, while Ken and Isla raced around, chatting about gelato and dolphins. I could already envision it. The four of us laughing on some sun-soaked balcony, the kids' faces covered in sunscreen, Alyssa's smile brighter than the sea. I zipped up the suitcase, shut the front door, and hefted the items toward the automobile. We were so near. Just a quick trip to the airport, and we'd be going. Then my phone rang. I pulled it out of my pocket, expecting maybe a last-minute reminder from work. Alyssa and I had to wrap up one meeting before joining the kids tomorrow, but it was Ken's name on the screen. My stomach did a small flip. Why was he calling me? He was meant to be with Judith, Alyssa's mom, boarding the flight right now. Answered. And his voice came through tiny and wobbly like he was trying hard to hold it together. Dad. Grandma said we're superfluous luggage. She abandoned us at the gate. The words hit me like a punch. I halted, dead in the driveway, the luggage slipping from my grasp. Isla's small sob echoed in the background, and I could hear an airport. Announcement over the line, my heart just stopped. Judith was scheduled to take them. Our strategy was airtight. Alyssa and I would finish work today, and she'd travel with them, keep them safe, till we caught up. Now, my kids were alone, abandoned. I tried to breathe, to think clearly, but all I could see was crimson. Judith. Carrington, with her fancy sunglasses and her persistent air of being above everyone else, had ditched my children like they were old luggage she didn't want to carry. Ken muttered something about a lady from the airline staying with them, but I barely heard it above the roar in my ears. I begged him to stay put, that I was coming, right now, and hung up. Alyssa stepped outside, saw my face, and froze. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice tight. I could hardly get the words out. "Your mother left them at the gate, said they were needless luggage." Her eyes widened. Her palm flew to her mouth. But I was already moving, snatching my keys. I told her to call the airline, figure out what was happening, while I got to the kids. The drive to the airport was a blur. Every stoplight felt like a personal insult. Every second ticking by an eternity. My head raced. How could she do this? Judith had always been cold, always acted like I was some outsider who'd fallen into her perfect little family. But this was a new low. I kept seeing Ken's face in my mind, my brave little man trying not to cry, and Isla, my baby girl, probably clutching her penguin plush, scared and confused. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Chakatib. The time I pulled into the terminal parking, I was shivering, not just with worry, but with something darker, something that intended to make Judith pay. I found them near the fence, just like Ken said. Isla ran to me the moment she saw me, burying her face in my shirt, her little arms locked around my waist. Ken stood a few steps back, holding both backpacks, his jaw set, like he was trying so hard to be brave. A gate worker stood nearby, looking apologetic. I dropped to my knees, pulled them both into a hug, and held them tight. "I've got you," I whispered, again and again. "Daddy's here." The agent handed me a folded note. Judith's handwriting, sharp and casual. "They'll just hold me back. You can get them on the next flight." I stared at the note, my fury boiling. No apology, no regret. Just a cold, clipped message saying my kids were a burden. I crumpled the paper in my fist. My phone buzzed. Alyssa, asking if they were okay. I told her, "They're with me now, safe," but I could hear the tremble in her voice. The disbelief. She said she was on her way, leaving work now. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it, and hung up. The kids were staring at me, waiting for me to fix it, to tell them what came next. I forced a smile, ran a hand through Ken's hair, and squeezed Isla's hand. "We're going to be fine," I said, but inside, I was already planning. I pulled out my phone, opened the airline app, double-checked every booking, every flight, every villa, every experience, all on my card. My name, my money. Judith was up there right now, probably sipping wine at 30,000 feet, thinking she'd won, that she could ditch my kids and ride my wallet all the way to Rome. I smiled again, but this time, it was cold, sharp. She had no idea what was coming. She asked, but it was weak, like she already knew the answer. I took a breath, selecting my words, careful but stern. Judith's been doing this for years. Not this exact thing, but the way she treats us, me, the kids, even you sometimes, like we're not really her family. Like I'm just the guy who married into it and the kids are extras. Alyssa flinched, but she didn't interrupt, so I kept talking. Remember Ken's 5th birthday? She showed up late, brought some expensive toy he didn't even like, and spent the whole party talking about her vacation to Paris. Or when Isla was born, and she told you not to treat her because she wasn't the first. Her mouth opened, then closed. I saw the memories locking into place. She sank back onto the couch, her hands in her lap. I believed that was simply her way, she muttered almost to herself. She's always been fussy about appearances, concerning who fits where. I imagined she'd warm up eventually. I sat next to her again, closer this time. She didn't. And today wasn't about warming up. She left them. Alyssa called them luggage. That's not an error. That's who she is. She stared at me, tears brimming but not dropping, and I hated how much this upset her. Yet we couldn't keep pretending. Not after this. That's when we heard it. Faint footsteps on the stairs. Isla emerged, her penguin dangling from one hand, her pajamas disheveled from tossing in bed. "Mother? Papa?" she murmured, her voice little. "Did Grandma forget us on purpose?" My heart cracked right open. Alyssa made a choking cry, and I picked Isla up, putting her between us on the couch. "No, baby," I replied, even though it was a lie I hated telling. "Grandma made a horrible choice, but we didn't forget you. Never will." Alyssa reached over, smoothing Isla's hair. "Back!" And I felt something shift in her, something harsh and final. "She didn't forget," Alyssa remarked quietly, more to me than Isla. She picked Isla up. The girl nodded, drowsy and trusting, and sank into me. I hugged her close, feeling her little heartbeat against my chest. Alyssa wiped her eyes, her jaw settling like she'd made up her mind. "She's done this before," she added, her voice steadier now. "Not this awful, just minor things. Telling me you weren't family material when we were engaged, saying the kids were too loud, too dirty for her house. I kept making excuses since she's my mom, but you're right, Graham. This isn't the first time she's drawn that line." I squeezed her hand, and this time, she let me. "She crossed it today," I said. "Not just with me or the kids, with you too." We stayed there, the three of us, until Isla's breathing slowed and she slept out in my arms. Alyssa stared at me, her eyes clear now, enraged. "What you've done, canceling her vacation, I was mad at first, but I get it now. She doesn't deserve it. Not after this." I nodded, comfort flowing through me. "We're done letting her call the shots," I replied. "New Zealand's ours, no lines, no baggage, just us." She smiled, faint but sincere, and leaned her head on my shoulder. Later, Over a quiet dinner, just leftovers, nothing fancy, we kept talking. The truth burst out raw and messy, Judith's years of small slashes, her way of keeping us at arm's length. Her fixation with her own image. Alyssa admitted it hurt, yet saying it out loud helped lighten her weight. I took Isla up to bed. After tucking